Hey guys, so I can't believe I'm back on here again, but as I said, I only speak when something really moves me to. I am going to try to make this video as quick as possible. It is about Rashid and Simone from Ready to Love. If you guys don't know the situation that's happening with them, just go type in Rashid Symone, Ready to Love, or Ages and Stages podcast, and his confession video will come up. Basically, he did not commit an act of infidelity. He did not cheat on his soon-to-be wife, but he did commit financial infidelity, basically lying about his finances, and just trying to keep up with the Jones. And he found himself in a really bad financial predicament, and the wedding was basically called off. So there's so many points I have, but I am going to try to speak as quick as possible and get to the points as quick as possible. But I suggest you guys go watch that video first. Type in Rashid confession. It should come up. It's a long video, but I think it's a great case study. Okay, so the first thing I am going to talk about is women and the pressure that we put on men when it comes to money. Now listen, I'm going to hold the men accountable, so just hold your horses. I believe that men should speak to men and women should speak to women. So I'm going to speak to the women first, and we are going to take some accountability. If that's okay, just a little accountability, not too much. Okay, so just think about celebrities saying, I'm not responsible for raising your child, as if they are not key influencers, right? And yes, you guys are not responsible for raising other people's children. If you want to be sexy, you should be able to without being monitored, because maybe Jane's daughter or Jack's son is going to be watching you. That is true. However, two things can be true at the same time. There are such things as influencers, and there is cultural influence. Women globally, and I'm going to get to men, so just let me deal with the women first. Okay, women, that's like, why are you blaming her? I'm not blaming her at all. I'm not blaming her, even though we all have to take accountability no matter what. Okay, women, we have this culture of feeling like men, and they are supposed to be providers. However, I just feel like the way we're going about discussing and demanding men to make money is really becoming a problem. It's been a problem, right? Which is why there's so many single men and women today. It's been a problem. We know that men, if we're talking Black America, we know that Black women are out earning Black men, right? It's a thing, right? However, in general, character and integrity and who a person is in totality should be the most important factor. You know, like even with credit, you know, there's different things that they check in your credit history that is going to account for your credit score. So maybe you defaulted on a credit card or a loan, but you've been paying 7 other things on time for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years straight. There are other things that are equally important when we look at the totality of how we judge people. And women, and we could be doing it as like a defense mechanism, since you guys require us to be sexy and mothers, pretty much stay-at-home mothers, and work 9 to 5. So we're working just as much as you. We have to raise children as well. We have to be sexy, and we have to be bosses, but we also have to be soft and feminine. It's a lot on us. So I think as a defense, we're like, listen, you have to make a certain amount of money, or else you ain't shit in society. You know what I mean? Or you're just not qualified to date us, or you're not qualified to date most women. You don't even deserve women. So when it comes to this money pressure, we are contributing to men not feeling like they have to really put high values on their integrity and character. I see so many podcasts and conversations, and I've had this debate even with with an acquaintance of mine, maybe like 2 years ago, and she was just gung-ho on not dating a man that made under 100,000 because she makes a little over 100,000. And I said, well, what if he has all the other characteristics that you really love in a man, all the other things, but he makes 100,000? This lady would not budge at all. Now, I will say, we did have a conversation sometime this year, and I'm very proud of her because she did say from that conversation that she realized that she should be able to not lower her standards. Definitely, we don't want you lowering your standards, but she realized that she should be able to really take into consideration other things. So now she isn't saying he has to make 100,000, but she was like at least 80. And she did say, based on our conversation, it did make her reflect. So that's a good thing. But my point is, if we only make men feel like money is one of the most important things about them, what message are we sending to men? Like, what message are we putting out to men about their value as an entire human being? And why would they invest in character and integrity and kindness and emotional intelligence? Why would they even invest in caring how they please us? And the fact that so many women are using sex toys because men cannot please women these days. And not because, don't go with the women are ran through. Let's just be real. A lot of you men in the bedroom need a lot of work. But the point I'm making is, men don't excel in these other areas, not because of us. I'm not going to put that on women. I am not going to put that on women. I will say, though, that women, we are influencers. We are tastemakers. So if we are constantly saying, okay, how much do you make? How much do you make? Putting value on money, 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 money. Then men don't work on, men tend to not work on their character as far as other things go, as far as being a holistic being. And that's one of the things, like, let me just put this out there. I don't think that you fully know a person until your life is damn near over, or until you guys are both old and you just can't do shit anymore. So if I ever mention small things about my relationship, it's not a I know all. It's not even a I know anything, because I'm going to continue to stay humble to the fact that I'm a student of this universe. I never want to come on here and be like, well, me and my husband this, me and my husband that. No, because life is the great equalizer. Soon as people come up here and start stunting and start acting like me and my husband, like, then you got to expose yourself. You know what I mean? So always stay humble. But what I will say is, I don't nag my husband, but I consistently challenge him to evolve as a human, as an entire human being, asking him questions about his childhood, asking him questions about his family dynamic, asking him questions about, like, theoretical questions like, well, what if you make this amount of money? Then what is your next goal? What is your ultimate goal in life? What are you working on other than financial goals? What are you working on other than a promotion at your job? Like, I ask these questions because women also have a responsibility to, I don't want to say help, but also promote. Even if you're like, I'm not helping these men, I'm not helping these grown ass men, I'm not raising no men, that's cool. That is cool. I get that. But we have a responsibility, especially if you're a woman in a dating pool, to remind men that, listen, I'm not going to make you do it. And I'm not even going to try to be a therapist. Do not try to be a man's therapist, ladies. That is a no-go. Let them work on themselves, but just make sure that you facilitate, that you ask the questions, that you give your partner the assignments, like, hey, like, sometimes we'll send each other podcasts and, like, well, let's discuss it. And then when we discuss it, some of the things you can ask your partner is, well, what do you see in this, scenario that reflects you? Or what do you see in this scenario that reflects me? Because I think it's easy to look at other people and be like, I would never, or he would never, or we would never. But one of the things I always say is never feel like you're above what other people are going through. Always look at what other people are going through and say, let's really pay attention and let's examine it with humility and see how we cannot run into those problems. So I'm never going to come from a place of like, oh, I know. Listen, I don't know anything. I am loving and I'm living like everybody else. But what I do know is we will do the work. And that's the key word. We will do the work. I can't feel like I'm a woman, so I know a lot. I know myself. I'm a good woman. I don't have to do the work. I have to constantly do the work, especially being in a marriage. I have to constantly do the work to keep meshing and growing in the same direction as my partner, because who you are from 25 to 27 may vary from who you are from 28 to 30, which most likely will vary from when you are 32 to 35. So the goal has to constantly be evolution. And women, we also have to not put so much emphasis on our bodies and on men's money. Because the thing is, if we put so much value in that, in our bodies and us as sexual beings, and if we consistently put the value on men when it comes to finances, then they keep going in this direction, we keep going in that direction, and as quiet as it's kept, we're all going in the wrong direction. Sex is not enough. Being sexy is not enough. There's enough sexy and beautiful women. Money is not enough. When you go in front of your creator, when this world is done, do you think God is going to ask you, like a lot of women, and this is something that I realize in the Western world, and this is because I just like study other cultures on YouTube and stuff. I'm nosy like that and inquisitive. And I can't remember what country it was, but they were saying it's odd. I think it's the Nordics, somewhere in maybe like Sweden or something like that. When you talk to people, they never mention like where they work or their job title, when you ask them about themselves or you just start having conversation with them. Like they'll say, I'm a father first, or I'm a husband. They'll say everything but their profession first. And that's if they even mention their profession in the conversation. And I find that really intriguing because I always think, right, when this is all said and done, let's just say whatever you believe in, let's just say when you meet your creator or when you get to, the judgment day or whatever, do you think your creator is going to ask you anything about your freaking job? Anything about your salary? I don't care if you make $300,000. What does that have to do with your spirit and you not and you actually evolving? I don't know if you believe in reincarnation or heaven and hell. Anyhow you put it, there's something after this. And if life is like a game where you have to get past one step or one level to get to the next, do you think that once we are done this to get to the next level of our life, anything that we do economically or financially is going to matter? It doesn't. When your mom or your father or your grandparents are on their deathbed and you have to sit with them in their final moments, nobody is thinking about finances and money. You are thinking about moments, experiences. Did we treat each other right? Did we reconcile? You're thinking about closure. You're thinking about, did we grow together in the right way? Like, how was our relationship? Experiences, relationships, and constantly doing self-improvement work is really what matters in the end, right? None of this other stuff matters and we get so caught up in it. And I understand we have to pay bills, but like, even for men, like women that constantly promote men that have a lot of money. And this is where I have to give credit to Kevin Samuels and people like that, because when they say that men that have a lot of money are mostly going to be infidels, this is true, because think about it. Once, if your whole goal as a man, your major goal is to make more money and make more money. Let's just say that you make the peak of what you really want to make. That means that you've accomplished. That means that you hit the mountaintop. So what's going to be your next conquest? Bodies, right? You're going to need something to validate or to be a gift for all of the things that you did. So with Rasheed, unfortunately, it was cars. It was the pressure of, okay, and it's so funny because when I watched their relationship in the beginning, I just kind of find it cringe that Simone was so big on like, we have to travel, and not in a way that like everybody wants to travel, and have a little vacation here and there, but it was like, it was giving me social media IG couple, we gotta be on this so often. That amount of pressure, not only, yes, he could have just been honest and said, I don't have it like that, but it's like, what kind of society are we in where men don't even, not men, where this particular man wasn't even comfortable enough to say, we can't afford to go on trips this often. We cannot afford a huge wedding. We cannot, like, which I'm the opposite type of female. I am terrified to have a wedding. Yes, me and my husband eloped. Very happy about that. Very low key. I am terrified of weddings, not because of the expense, but more so because of the stress. And I'm still trying to figure out why weddings, you can throw a party for like $3,000 or less, but a wedding, at minimum, you're spending $10K. And that's you really trying to figure out what you have to take out and and getting the minimum, right? Like, why are we as a culture so obsessed with money and things? And why do we keep promoting men to be like that, but then we complain when they're not developed in any other area? That's all you're valuable for. This is what we are telling men. So this goes into my other point of social media being a narcissist playground. This is a narcissistic playground. Seriously. This is why people are like, oh, you need to be on social media more. You need to make more videos. And I'm like, no, there's no validation in this for me. That's why I say if 3 people like comment and say that they agree with me, I reach 3 people, I'm cool, because this is a narcissist playground. And I think the issue, one of the hugest issues is people are so caught up in social media. It is scary. Like, it is scary. It is truly scary. You have to think about so many things that you are doing. Are you genuine? Would you do it if nobody could see? Would you value it as much if nobody would ever know that you did it? If you couldn't post anything that you did this year on social media, would you still do all those things? Would you still buy all those things? And it's funny because when I watch, especially a lot of these YouTube couples, you realize that people who weren't narcissists, and let me throw this out there, I do not like the word narcissist because it's overused and it's annoying. But narcissism, if we're talking about people becoming completely self-centered, this is what is happening. People are not even experiencing and living. And this is why, for the life of me, I cannot understand YouTubers that make commentary on stuff every day or every other day. You cannot be a happy person because you are not living. You're not truly living. Everything you do, you're thinking about social media. You're thinking about posting. You're thinking about content. You're thinking about creating. It is narcissism. Like, we are in a society of absolute narcissists because of social media. The amount of couples that come on here and they just want everybody to see what they're doing every day, all day. You're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube. That is the death to relationships, because now you have to come on camera even when you don't like each other and act like you like each other. You have to constantly post updated photos of you guys going out and doing stuff because we portrayed that we had it like that and we're a super fun couple. It creates narcissism, and couples need to be very, very careful about being on social media. Like, you really have to have a plan, and you guys also have to have time frames and timelines when you have to exit, right? Like, at a certain time, all phones down. we are having family time, when we're eating dinner, we're sitting together at the table, phones down. Like, certain things need to be off limits. So people need to take the L on letting social media take over your lives, and even worse, your love life. Could you imagine losing, you're engaged, the wedding is supposed to be in a couple of months, and now you have nothing because you wanted to keep up with social media and what strangers think. Strangers that don't even have it like that. None of y'all have it like that. I know people that make way more money than me. Way more money than me. And when I find out what's in their bank accounts, or when I hear them say, oh, I'm not going to get that today. I'm going to just get that because, girl, I got to wait until I get paid. It blows my mind. I'm like, do you know how much money you make? What the hell is going on? Oh my God. And then my other point is, once again, with relationships, and especially social media couples, stay humble. Because I'm telling you, y'all are the people that come on here like, oh, my husband this, or we're doing that, or we're going here, or I would never, and y'all doing commentary on everybody else. But then you have to expose yourselves. Like Simone, one of her things, she's an attorney, so she created content around doing background checks on people. Could you imagine that you create content? She literally created content exposing Derek Assens. That's what I'm going to call him because I don't want to call his real name. But Derek Assens, just blowing up some of his financial stuff that she was able to dig up. And could you imagine 2 weeks later, I think she posted that video 2 weeks ago, God and the universe and the spirit realm moves fast. That's why you got to stay humble. 2 weeks later, like clockwork, her fiance has to post a video about him being broke, completely broke. His house is in his mama name. His car is in his mama name. $250,000 in debt. But it goes back to what I said earlier about remaining humble. You're making videos about people's finances and doing credit checks, and which professionally, I don't even think any attorney should be on YouTube. Like, social media is going to be the death of people. Y'all need to get off of YouTube, get off of social media if you have certain professions, because child. I actually have to go soon, so I don't even know if I have time for all the points. Oh, my final point, because I have to go, is men, you have to stop being mediocre. Y'all have to want better for yourselves. I remember how men used to always, black men in America would talk about police brutality and slavery, and, talk about how they used to consider us 3/5 human or something like that. And, how we're not, black men are always saying we're not animals. Why do they treat us like animals, shooting us down like animals? Saying that we're messing with their women, like we can't have any kind of sexual discipline, like we're animals. But you guys are doing this to yourself. You guys are, and this is where I do the men accountability. You guys are mediocre in almost every way. You guys do not make as much or more than black women in America. You guys are not good with discipline. So you can't be trusted to even be around women's friends, right? You guys cannot last in the bedroom or do not know what to do. So it's not even like, for a lot of these women, it's balancing out because of great sex. That's not even on the table for a lot of you guys. You guys are not, the conversations are not flowing well enough for you guys to even stimulate your woman's mind. Like, you watch sports, you're playing games, you're on social media. You can't even stimulate a woman mentally. Like, at least make sure that these women are having good conversation and they're dealing with the intellect, even if you don't have the money or the good sex, or you're not a great looking guy. Like, you guys have to step it up, because mediocrity is the new norm for black men. And I don't want to say the new norm, but it's definitely a norm for black men, and it's really bad. It's really bad. So I have a lot more points, but I have to go. I just want to say good luck to Rashid and Simone. I really did like them as a couple. I do not want to see people break up. I really think that he's genuinely a good person, even though people are calling him out and saying he's a narcissist. I don't think he's a narcissist. And I do appreciate a man taking accountability, even if he's doing it with some manipulation or with some narcissism. It doesn't matter how narcissistic or manipulative you are. Once you expose yourself, you have to really sit with that and look in the mirror. When you lay down at night and nobody else is there and there's no social media and there's no comments and there's no views, he is going to sit with himself and God, right? So I do wish them the best. I wish I could have elaborated more, but I am strapped for time. So women, please, let's do better with making men seem like all they're valuable for is money. Men, stop being mediocre in every category. In every category. Stop it. You guys have to really evolve because you are going to get left behind. The jig is up. Y'all think that the passport bros are something. Black women in America are dating elsewhere. They are. Even in America, they're open to Indians now. They're open to Asians. They are open to white men, of course. So if y'all think that you're going to forever have the loyalty of Black women, you're not. So with that being said, y'all have a good day.